Here we are at the end of 2025, and I wanted to make a video about tech that I will be bringing into the new year. I have a vision for how I want to enjoy my year next year. So I saw this video from this YouTuber named Isaac OS. You should definitely check him out. And he did a video about tech that he's bringing into the new year, and I kind of got inspired by that, and I wanted to apply it to my channel and make a video for you guys, letting you know what I'm going to be bringing into 2026 and what my goals are as well. That's actually going to be a separate video I'm making, but this is a little sneak preview of a couple of things I'm bringing into 2026 and how I see my year playing out. And starting off with number one, that is my iPod Classic 5.5 with the Wolfson DAC, the last of its kind to include such a DAC. So I actually saw a video from Denki. He works with Austin Evans and stuff like that, and he did a iPod mod of this exact model iPod, and it came out really sick. And I kind of got inspired by that. And to be honest, I like this trend of people using their phones less and less. And I also like the idea of having one device that does one thing. Yes, we have our phones and they do everything we could ever want and more, right? These are portable computers. Well, unless you've been living under a rock, there is a trend nowadays where old tech is suddenly cool again. Not only is it just cool, but it also for me has a purpose, because to be honest, yeah, screen time for people in general is at an all-time high. And do I like that? No. But it's convenient that I have this one little device that does everything. So my goal for 2026 is to diversify my tech. So that's where this iPod comes in. So with my plans for this iPod in 2026 is to eventually mod it, get a new case on it, and I want to swap out the battery for a big battery. I don't know if I want to do any conversion or any custom OS on it, because I do like the stock iPod interface or UI. I like it a lot, and I want this thing to feel as Apple coded as possible. Like, I don't want it to feel like it's an MP3 player. I want it to feel like it's an iPod. So I'm probably going to swap the shell out for like some cool shells I've seen online, like a transparent purple to match my purple theme. Maybe do a battery swap and maybe do like an SD card iFlash on the inside. And if you don't know, that's basically so swapping out the actual physical hard drive that's in there, which is a spinning disk, which eventually will die one day. So if I'm going to do all this work into modding it, I might as well, while I got it cracked open, throw like an SD card in there and mod it that way, so it's way more reliable down the line. And to be honest, the speeds I have with this original Apple port, the dock, whatever you want to call that, I don't know what they called that, speeds have been fine. I think it adds to the experience as well, where like I had like a couple albums on my computer ready to go onto the iPod. I set it up. It said it was going to take maybe a half hour. I walked away, I did something else, I came back, it was done. It was kind of cool going back in time like that and kind of living in the moment where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this with my iPod. This is doing that. I'm going to go do something else instead of, rather than my phone downloading something, and okay, that's doing that in the background. I can go do this on my phone. No, it's cool to get back in touch with reality when your technology is computing and doing stuff. I don't know why I like that. Like, I like the thought of like doing something, setting it up, and having it take time to do it so I can do something else. Everything's so instant nowadays where it's like if I want something done, it's done so fast and I can get so much done. And that works when you talk about like productivity. But as far as like entertainment goes, I think spoiling yourself with like fast entertainment is not good. It's not, it's unhealthy. That's why short form video is like so popular right now, and nobody watches long form video unless you're watching a podcast in the background. So for me, it's like that's one of my goals in 2025 is to get this iPod up and running, put all my songs on it, and enjoy music that way. Now, I can't talk about the iPod without talking about these guys right here. These are a form of IEMs that I found on Amazon. They were actually pretty cheap. They were like, I think they were $40. I got me and my fiance a set. She uses it for gaming. It's actually really cool with spatial awareness and stuff like that. It adds a lot of value to your music, and it actually, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional listening to them for the first time because I've never listened to music in that way. I own AirPods and everything, but intentionally listening to something is so much different than putting an AirPod in and just having it on in the background. It's almost like elevator music. Like if you have AirPods in, there's an expectation of like, I have these in like this because I'm busy and I'm doing something and I just want music playing, rather than, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna listen to this intentionally and enjoy it. It's a whole different experience that I highly recommend. And going into 2026, I think it's a really cool idea to have that set up, because it's just a different form of enjoyment that we have not had in a very long time, because our phones do everything. Now, number 2 on my list of tech I want to bring into 2026 with me is my Nintendo Switch 2. And if you saw my last video, you saw that I'm trying to use this thing more. I really think this year coming up is the year for the Switch 2. I really think there's a lot of good games that are gonna come out. Maybe we don't know about them yet, but I'm really excited to actually use this thing because I've got it on launch day. I actually stayed at Best Buy overnight. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. But I got it, and I feel like overall I've never touched it up until recently, where I actually got a bunch of games for Christmas that I'm diving into now, and I'm starting to appreciate it's not its small form factor, but it's a lot lighter than my Ally, and it's pretty powerful too. It's not as powerful as my Ally, obviously, but it's definitely cool to have a handheld. Again, something intentional, right? I could have my Ally and I can modify it to have, and I could have all my Steam games on there, Xbox, this, that. Like, yeah, I could be spoiled in that way, but to have a Nintendo console, it's nice because everything's curated by Nintendo. Like, it's a Nintendo experience rather than a PC experience I customize, and part of my brain likes that. I can't explain it, but there's just something in my head that goes, okay, this feels like childhood, my childhood, Nintendo, like, handheld gaming. Like, that brings me back rather than $800 PC handheld. Another big thing I wanted to get into is finishing more games, and by proxy kind of like playing smaller titles, and the Switch 2 is just filled with small titles. I want to get into a more casual gaming experience, because as of right now I pick one game and I really play it that way, and that's the only game I play. And most of the time they're story games. So like, I want to learn to diversify my my gaming portfolio, if you will. And I want to be able to pick up my Switch for like 15-20 minutes, play something casual, and then put it down, do something, maybe listen to music, and I don't know, just have a good time playing games. Nowadays, if I know I'm going to be gaming, it's got to be something that like I want to dedicate an hour or two. Most of the time I'm playing like story-driven, intense games when I really could be playing something casual. And if you have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments. I'm open to checking anything out. I could really use you guys' help on that, because I really don't know. I just want something fun, casual, and like arcadey maybe, but good visuals. Doesn't really matter. Just something fun I could pick up 15-20 minutes at a time, put down, forget about. I don't have to remember characters' names or anything like that. Let me know. I really want to like train my ADD brain to be able to handle multiple things, because right now it's really hard for me to focus on like multiple things. I really need to be focused on one thing at a time. And that's kind of how my brain works. I want to be able to not have the stress of gaming. I don't know how else to explain it. Now, the third thing on my list is probably the newest thing that I've gotten on my list, and that is my 3D printer. So I picked up the P1S on Black Friday for like dirt cheap compared to what I'm getting and what it usually goes for. And I've been obsessed with printing stuff all the time. I basically have it running 24/7. The only reason it's not running right now is because it might be a little too loud for the video. But I've printed so many things, and it's really been fun downloading things and printing. But going into 2026 and beyond, I really want to pick up 3D modeling and actually learning to do things myself rather than rely on other people's STL files. I really want to sit down and learn how to use Blender and model things and be proficient in that software, because I think it's such a useful skill to be able to look at a problem, do a couple measurements, and solve that problem. And I really think that's something valuable and something I definitely want to learn, because I've never really been able to do things like that. I'm somebody who really relies on other people's solutions to my problems, if that makes sense. I want to learn to be a problem solver. I want to do it myself if I can. So I actually picked up these pair of calipers that allow me to measure whatever I want to measure. And I'm gonna use this tool as a way to get into learning 3D modeling. I think this was like $5. I just want to be more self-sufficient in doing things. I want to be able to be confident in solving my own problems in 2026. That is my biggest thing. I want to be more confident, and I want a more I could do this mentality. It sounds cringy, but like every single year, I'm like, oh, going into 2026, I'm gonna have all these goals. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but it never happens. So I think the root of my problem is the mentality of it and just thinking I could flip a light switch, right? So it's really, for me, going into this year, it's about finding the roots of what I want to do and starting from there and planting those seeds rather than just trying to tackle the full problem head on. And that's kind of the vibe of going into 2026 for me. And number 4 on my list, it may be trendy. You might think I'm hopping on the wave. You might think I'm just another sheep in the crowd. Whatever you want to think, I really don't care. Going back into what I was saying about having individual pieces of tech for individual tasks, I wanted to start using this Canon PowerShot more and more this year. So I actually found this at my parents' house and picked it up, brought it home, cleaned it up, and it still works. I just actually ordered an SD card for it so I could start using it. And I want to have this little camera around with me so I could just take pictures whenever I want instead of using my phone. I feel like having a digital camera really is a cool trend. I don't think it's like this weird trend that's going around. I think it's a really cool idea. And not to mention, I looked this guy up on freaking Google and it goes for like $500 or something like that. That's so crazy for a digital camera. It's a Canon PowerShot. This thing, I got this for Christmas when I was 6. But that being said, that's just another thing I want to get into. I really think they're cool. I really love the way the pictures come out. I actually was going through here and seeing some pictures that were already on here from childhood, and I was like, oh, these are actually kind of cool looking. And the vibe aesthetics nowadays, I feel like the early 2000s is so back. Like from fashion to music, everything about the late 90s, early 2000s is like so back, and I'm so with it because that was my prime years, man. Those were the days. Oh, so many good memories, man. So many good memories. And I want to make more with this thing. I really think this is a cool idea. I've seen so many people getting into these, and I want to try them. Imagine just chilling outside, and I don't know, maybe it's winter and you're going on a road trip with the lady, and maybe you just like pull over for a second because you had to stop somewhere, and you're like, oh, take a couple pictures because we're on the road. I don't know. It seems a lot more cringy to like pick up your phone and just like, I don't know. Something about this, right? It's just so much cooler. It's like it's a unit in my hand, like it's physical. Like this thing will only take pictures for its entire life. Only take pictures. I don't have to worry about going into Photoshop or going into whatever Adobe software to edit my pictures. I don't have to worry about any of that because it's already got a vibe. It's got a vibe on the camera already. It's the vibe. The camera is the vibe. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't know. I think it's cool, especially now that I have my server up and running. I could just upload the SD card into my server and I have all these pictures and memories that I'll have for the rest of my life. I don't know. That's just something I think is really sick, and I want to bring into 2026. So the 5th item on my list is my iPad. It's really not original. This is something that I use every day. I'm sure a lot of people use every day. This is just something I couldn't make this video without mentioning because my iPad has been so essential to my everyday life, especially work, really only work, where I use it for notes, I use it for web apps, whatever I need to view for work, emails. It has been a godsend since I got it. I had the iPad mini for a very long time and I loved it. If they updated that screen to be a better screen, I would still be using an iPad mini. However, when they refreshed the iPad mini, they did not refresh the screen, which was a huge letdown for me. So what I did was I traded my old iPad mini in for the iPad Air with the M1 chip, and I never really needed the M1 chip. I don't edit videos on it. It was just kind of cool to have. However, at this point in time, this iPad does not last me all day. And that kind of sucks. So not having an iPad that lasts all day, especially with what I do for a living, even making YouTube videos, like jotting notes, like I hate to crack my iPad open and start taking notes and it's got like 5% and I gotta find a charger. Kind of sucks for me. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm like irresponsible with my batteries or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe in 2026 we upgrade it if we could find a good trade-in deal somewhere. Maybe we do that. I'll let you guys know. Again, the iPad is just something I absolutely need every single day, all day, every day for work. I could not live without this thing. So I mentioned that I use this thing for work, but what do I use it for in my personal life? And that is a good question, because the answer is nothing. There is nothing I use this iPad for in my personal life. I don't watch videos on it. I don't really do anything on it for personal use. And that's what I want to change. And the first thing I want to start doing on it is getting into ebooks. I want to start learning to read. Obviously I can read, but like learning to sit down and enjoying a book. And I think the best way for me to get into it is maybe on an iPad. And then I'm also in the same camp, like, okay, maybe a Kindle, like, cause I'm all about diversifying my tech and having a tech item for a specific task, right? I mentioned that earlier, but I think to start out, maybe I start with the iPad and just start trying to read on it. Maybe I'll start with some comic books, some manga, with a book I'm working on in the background, but that's something I want to learn to do in my personal life, is just enjoy a little bit of reading. Like all I do is watch YouTube and edit videos and work, you know what I mean? And I play games to enjoy some free time, but I want to learn to find my endorphins elsewhere, like other than gaming and doing other things. I want to find happiness and enjoyment in the simpler things in life that people decades, generations ago were enjoying. Like, how come in like the year of like 500 BC or whatever, they're like, what did people do for fun? You know what I'm saying? And obviously we're far removed from that, but it's like that the brains are the same. The brains did not change that much, right? Like their brain back then, if they were born today, like they'd be the same. So what did they do to enjoy fun? I feel like that's something I never really had, because I've always tried to enjoy my time with gaming and stuff like that. I didn't really learn about the simpler things in life. So I want to get into reading. That's just one thing I want to start using my iPad for in my personal time. YouTube, no, I watch it either on my phone in the car, or I watch it on my computer. Like, that's a little tough. Maybe emails and stuff like that as this channel grows, maybe some sponsors I deal with directly on my iPad, but it's just hard to find a happy medium with the iPad when I have my phone and a computer. And I feel like there's some holes to fill that I mentioned earlier that the iPad could fill. I just need to try hard enough. So last but not least, I have a double feature for you guys, and they're both the same thing. So this is my Nintendo new 3DS. New Nintendo 3DS XL. This was my last 3DS I ever bought before the Switch came out, obviously. And I used to play this thing every single day. So why am I saying there's two things? Well, that's because this 3DS was the one I had before it, and it's also the one I decided to hack and mod. So this one actually has a bunch of ROM hacks and a bunch of Game Boy games and stuff like that. So this is basically my portable emulation device, because I wanted, if I had two 3DSs, I didn't want to have both hacked 3DSs. I wanted one to maintain its originality. So that was the newest one, right? And I'd hacked the old one. They're both the same in power, but why do I have two? I just kind of mentioned that I want one for my physical collection. So when I was a child, something happened in my life where I lost all of my video games. All of them were taken away from me. They were gone. And my save files, everything. I must have had every Pokemon game, every Fire Emblem game. I had so many memories that were just gone one day when I got home. And that was devastating to me. So now that I'm an adult, I want to kind of rebuild that collection and remember what it was like. That's why I have two. One for emulated games, Game Boy games I want to play on the go, whatever. But one to also build out my physical collection and restoring my childhood of games that I lost along the way. But going into 2026, I really want to get into bringing this stuff with me and using it. Using more stuff. Using more stuff is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, your phone could do everything, but why use your phone when you have a device that does it already? So guys, let me know down below what you plan on bringing into 2026. I hope you have an amazing year this year, and I hope you achieve all your hopes and dreams. What are my hopes and dreams? I want to get this channel to 50,000 subscribers by December 2026. That is my hope and dream. So if you're watching this and you want to help me, please hit that big red button, dog. Hit that big red button, and while you're down there, you might as well hit the thumbs up one that looks like this. So hit that one, hit the red one, and share with a friend if you enjoy this video. Guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate the support. Leave a comment down below if you got something to say. What are you bringing into 2026? Let me know. Guys, I love you. Peace out. Bye.